Okay, guys, so let's get started with the session without any further ado. Before that, a quick formal introduction on my end. My name is Mohammed Shoaib. I'm a cybersecurity trainer certified from EC Council. EC Council is the leading organization for certifications and trainings in this domain. Okay, again, the course demo we are taking today is Certified Ethical Hacking. Okay, the main first foundational course in the domain of cybersecurity. And the version that is running right now is version 12, the latest version. Every year the version gets updated and newer topics are added. Okay, so before we dive into the demo, a quick formal introduction on what hacking and what ethical hacking is. Okay, usually students confuse these two terms for one and the same. Okay, let's try to clear that confusion out first. So if I have to define hacking out, this is the procedure of trying to gain access to information devices. Okay, now these information devices or information systems could be anything. They could be as small as a mobile phone to as big as a web application server or a database. And this gaining access to these devices is done without the permission or the consent of the person owning those devices. Now, once you get access to the devices, this is usually performed by hackers for their own benefit. So they can steal the data from those devices, destroy the data on the devices, or even sell that data to other third-party vendors. And sometimes hackers are so malicious, they even do it just for fun. Okay. Now, if hacking is such a malicious task or a criminalistic job, why do we have a course called ethical hacking is the second question. Okay. And what is ethical hacking? How is it becoming ethical or legal? So to define ethical hacking, it is the procedure of trying to find vulnerabilities. Okay, you're going to be hearing this term vulnerability a lot of times. To define it out, it is a loophole, a weakness in the information system, and using this weakness only, hackers try to take advantage of it, exploit it, and get the access to the data on the devices. So your job of an ethical hacker is to find these vulnerabilities before the hackers do, and with the consent of the organization, with their permission, you try to find the vulnerabilities in their systems and report it back to the organization itself. Once the vulnerabilities are reported, they're going to apply the necessary patches for it and remediate the vulnerabilities. And once a patch has been updated, it removes the vulnerabilities and increases the security of the organization. Is this clear, guys? Oh, 1 second, guys. Getting a call from the institute itself. Just a minute. Okay, guys, so sorry for that. Now, depending on these two definitions, guys, on hacking and ethical hacking, we can try to understand the different types of hackers. So there's someone known as a black hat hacker, there's someone known as a gray hat hacker, and then there's someone known as a white hat hacker. Okay. So black hat hackers are also commonly called as cyber criminals. They're someone who perform hacking for their own benefit. Okay. So they do it without asking for consent. Okay, and they do it just for fun sometimes. Now, on the other end of the spectrum, we have someone called as a white hat hacker. White hat hackers are nothing but ethical hackers who abide by the laws and policies of the organization, work hand in hand with them, and find the vulnerabilities. And once the vulnerability is found, they report it back to the organization. Okay. And in between, there's a third category called gray hat hackers. Okay. Gray hat hackers are people who, again, just like black hat hackers, don't ask for permission, but like a white hat hacker, they report the vulnerabilities back to the organization. So they have both the qualities of black hat as well as white hat. Okay, and they are called as bug bounty hunters. The reason being, whatever vulnerabilities they find, they don't give it for free. They do it in return for a bounty. That bounty could be a money reward or a financial reward regarding money prize or a reputational reward, anything which benefits them. Okay, now all these three types of hackers, whether you take black hat hacker, gray hat hacker, or a white hat hacker, they perform hacking or ethical hacking in a certain number of steps. These steps collectively are called as hacking cycle or cyber kill chain. Okay, so when you work for an organization, the organization is also going to ask you, what is your hacking cycle? What is the procedure that you follow? Okay, and universally there's one and the similar procedure. although the names for the steps might differ a bit. Okay, so let me explain the procedure in 5 simple steps. First step is called as information gathering. Some organizations refer to as reconnaissance or footprinting. Second step is called as scanning. It can also be referred to as enumeration. Third step is gaining access. Fourth step is maintaining access. And the last step is reporting or clearing traces. Now, the reason I've specifically mentioned or in the last step is because that is where it makes all the difference between a white hat hacker and a black hat hacker. So if you are a white hat hacker or an ethical hacker, you perform the first 4 steps in the same order. You first go with information gathering, then you perform scanning, then gaining access, and then maintaining access. And then in the end, you report the vulnerabilities to the organization. On the other hand, if you're a black hat hacker, you perform the first 4 steps in the same order. And in the end, you remove the evidences. So you don't report anything to the organization, obviously. You want to stay anonymous. You don't want to be caught. So you try to remove all the log files, delete the logs, clear the footprints, okay, and the evidences. So that in simple terms is called as clearing traces. Okay, so let's talk about each of these steps in a bit brief detail, so you have a better understanding about the course. Any questions or doubts up to this part, guys, before I go further ahead? Sachet, Ayappa, or Shoaib? Hello. Sachet, any questions on your end? Shoaib, any questions on your end?
From my end, at least.
Sorry, your voice is not audible, Sachet. It got cut in between.
Can you hear me now?
Now I can. Now I can.
Okay, yeah, I don't have any questions, at least for now.
Okay, perfect, perfect. Okay, let's go further ahead. Now let's talk about each of these phases one by one. So first step is called as information gathering. Again, as the name itself says, information gathering is nothing but trying to gather as much data or information as possible about the target organization. And one important point to note is this information is gathered passively. What I mean by passively is that you do not contact the organization in any way. All the information is obtained from the internet itself. Okay. Now the main question is, what kind of information are we trying to search over here? And this is the information as follows. So firstly, you try to figure out on the target system what IP addresses are active. Okay, so what IPs are they using, or what range of IPs are they using for their organization systems or servers, and so on. So then the who's records, understanding who is hosting their website for them, or when it was first initiated, and when was it last updated, and when will the website expire, or when it is supposed to be renewed. Then DNS records, understanding what are the DNS servers of the organization and what information is stored on their DNS servers. So basically DNS servers contain all the domain and the subdomain information for the organization. Then the employee details, such as the contact numbers, their email addresses, their publicly leaked usernames or passwords, again, the fax numbers of the organization. All this comes under employee details. Then lastly, getting the information about the operating system. What OS are they using on their servers? Now, believe it or not, all this information is readily available on the internet itself. You can gather it from a few special gold mines or some special resources. So if I show you a very basic example, I can show you a website called DNS Dumpster. So to get the DNS information for any organization, you can search for this website called DNS Dumpster and click on the first link that you get. And here you can see there's an input field where you can search for any domain. So let's say if I search for something like walmart.com. Okay, and if I click on search, this starts giving me information about the DNS servers of Walmart. So at the moment for Walmart, all the servers are located in Central America, and these are all the servers of Walmart. Okay, the DNS servers, and these are the IPs linked with those servers. So these IP addresses are very important for a hacker or for an ethical hacker to go with the further steps of scanning and getting vulnerabilities. So these are the mail servers for Walmart. Okay, they have 2 mail servers and they have these many DNS servers, 1 primary and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 secondary DNS servers. Scroll down much further, and these are all the subdomains and subdomains of Walmart. Okay, so this is the main domain, the main website server that is being hosted on this IP, and this IP is very important for a hacker. Okay, he needs to find the vulnerabilities on the server that is linked with this IP. Scroll down much further, these are the subdomains of Walmart. video beta 1, newsletter, and so and so. Okay, and these are their exact public IPs. Scroll down much further. This gives you the complete network topology. So this is the whole network organization of Walmart's servers. Okay, so this is all the endpoints that a hacker or a penetration tester needs to check when he wants to perform a penetration testing test on the complete organization of Walmart. Okay, so this gives you the complete information on how many servers exist for Walmart and how are they interconnected to one another. Okay, now believe it or not, this information is completely legal. So Walmart gives this information themselves, but again, it's scattered throughout the net. So what DNS does the job of capturing all that information and putting it in one single place. Okay, so it gets easier for us hackers and ethical hackers to find the information at a single spot. Okay, now similarly for other parts of the information, you have other websites as well. Okay, from where we can get the rest of the information. Now, after all this information is gathered, then you go with the next phase, which is scanning. So scanning is the next part, the second phase of a hacking cycle, where you try to get some extra information by making active connections. What I mean by active connections is that you directly contact the servers of the target organization, and from those servers, you get some extra bits and pieces of information. So to define that information, we can categorize it in three types. There's network scanning, port scanning, and vulnerability scanning. So first, once you get the IP address of the target servers, you scan those IPs and try to figure out in the target organization network how many devices exist. Okay, so with network scanning, you can figure out all the active or alive hosts in the target network. Once you know the active devices, on those devices you perform port scanning to figure out what ports are open, and on those ports what services or what applications are running. Once you know the services and the applications running, you try to find the vulnerabilities on those services, and that is known as vulnerability scanning, trying to find the weaknesses on those services to attack on them. And for this, we have a very important tool called Nmap. Okay. Along with that, we use a paid tool as well called Nessus. Let me show you that. So you can go to your browser and search for Tenable Nessus. This is the same tool that is actually used in real-time organizations. And this is quite an expensive tool. So if you click on buy, you can notice it's around $4,000. That too only for 1 year subscription. So we're going to be learning how to run this tool in our network as well. There's a trial version for this, so we can download it for free and try to understand how this works. So if I show you this on my system, it's on my network on the port 8834. And this is how an SS looks like. Okay, so you have multiple scan types: network scan, advanced scan, malware scan, web application scan. And once you perform a scan, it shows the vulnerabilities on each and every system. So I've scanned 3 devices on my network, and the vulnerabilities are categorized depending on the impact of the vulnerability. An organization should never have critical or high vulnerabilities. That gives you a hint that the organization is vulnerable or susceptible to a lot of cyber threats. Okay. And if you click on that, it shows you each and every vulnerability and what the vulnerability is, what is the solution for that vulnerability, and what tools can you use to exploit it or attack it. Okay, so this is a very important tool which automatically tells you in your organization what devices exist, and on those devices what vulnerabilities exist and how do you attack on them as well. Okay, so again, this gives you an all-around testing or an understanding of how to keep your organization secure. Okay, after this is done, after the scanning part is done, then we go into the next phase, which is gaining access. Okay, so gaining access is nothing but once you find all the information required or relevant, you try to attack using that information. Again, that in simple terms is gaining access. So it covers a huge variety of topics, and these are the topics as follows. So the first thing we'll learn in gaining access is system hacking. So in system hacking, we learn how we can bypass or crack a Windows operating system password. So if you have Windows 7 or Windows 8, 8.1, 10 or 11, doesn't matter what operating system version it is. If you have a locked device, excuse me. So if you have a locked device, we'll be learning how we can crack the password for that locked device and get access to the internal files of it. Okay. Then comes malware attacks, where we learn what are malwares, okay, and what are the categories of malwares. In simple terms, malwares are nothing but malicious softwares. Okay, so there's tons and tons of categories again: viruses, worms, trojans, spyware, rootkits, adware, whatnot. We'll practically learn how to create each of those malwares and how to defend your system as well from these different malwares. Then comes network penetration testing, trying to understand the weaknesses in a local network. So how to hack the Wi-Fi routers, how to capture data of other users in the network, how to shut down services or websites, perform DOS attacks, or MITM, man-in-the-middle attack. All that comes under network pen testing. Then comes social engineering, where we learn how hackers create fake websites. So any social media website, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or bank login pages, how do hackers create exact replicas of those websites, and how to get the credentials from the victims. So how do they perform these phishing attacks? Okay, so the phishing attacks are the most devastating ones, which due to which a lot of people lose their money. So we'll learn how these phishing attacks are performed and how to detect phishing attacks and distinguish between a genuine page and a fake one. Okay, then comes web application pen testing, where we learn what are the common vulnerabilities in websites. So using these vulnerabilities on websites like SQL injection, cross-site scripting, broken authentication, we can try to log in as other users or get the access to the data in the backend databases or execute malicious scripts on the target server and get remote connection to it. So we'll learn how to perform these attacks and search for vulnerabilities in websites. Then finally comes hacking mobile phones, where we learn how to perform testing on an Android phone, how to create Trojans for Android and get access to the Android data remotely. Okay, so again, we are touching each and every endpoint here. We're checking network security, we're checking system security, we're checking Wi-Fi security, we're checking again local networking devices security, or website security and Android security as well, covering each and every endpoint that can exist in a typical network. Okay, after gaining access is done, guys, then we go into the next two simple concepts: maintaining access and reporting or clearing traces. Again, these won't take much long. We'll learn how to maintain persistent connections in maintaining access. What I mean by persistent connections is that if the system restarts or if the target system shuts down and starts after a very long time, how do you still maintain a connection with him? How do you still get access to his data? That is what is learned in maintaining access. And finally, in reporting or clearing traces, we learn how to generate a report with all the vulnerabilities and submit it to the organization and help them out with the report. And finally, also how to remove the evidences like a black hat hacker. Okay, so we'll be learning both the perspectives of ethical hacking as well as hacking. Okay, and one more thing to discuss is before we dive into this advanced course, we have a few prerequisites to cover as well. Since not everyone could be from the networking background or technical background, we'll first learn what is virtualization. So we need to use an operating system called the Kali Linux operating system. So you can go to your browser and search for kali.org, and this shows you that this is a website to download a Kali Linux distribution. So this is the most advanced penetration testing or ethical hacking distribution. It comes with all the testing tools for penetration testing or security research or computer forensics. Okay, so again, you can download it from here, and I'll show you how to download it and install it on your device. Once it's installed and once we have a lab setup, you can practice these commands or other concepts which I show you whenever you want to on your local device. Once that is done, then we learn a few basic networking concepts, understanding what is IPv4 address, what is IPv6 address, what's the DHCP protocol, what's the DNS protocol, and all that. And then comes Linux and Windows commands, basic commands to understand and navigate a Linux operating system, similarly Windows as well. And after that is done, then we dive into the advanced concepts. Okay, so there's a few bonus concepts as well, such as cryptography, reverse engineering, cloud security, Splunk analysis, and so on. So just to have you get your basic overview of the advanced topics after the basic course. Okay, the whole course duration is, guys, 45 days, where we'll have classes from Monday to Friday every day at 9 p.m. IST, Indian Standard Time. Okay, and again, it's a 20-40 ratio class, guys. The first 15 to 20 minutes, we'll discuss the theoretical part of it, of each and every concept, and the remaining 35 to 40 minutes, we'll discuss the practical aspect of it. It's a completely practical implemented course, no theoretical nonsense. Okay, we'll be working on real-time tools, which I've shown you: the Kali Linux operating system, the Nessus tool, okay, and a few more tools like Burp Suite. This is one more tool we'll discuss in our classes. Again, as you can see, it's a web application security testing tool. And other than that, there's Wireshark. We'll talk about Wireshark as well. It's a sniffer tool to capture information or packets in your local network and analyze the data. So Wireshark, Burp Suite, Kali, Nessus, Nmap, These are all the tools that we'll use in our classes one by one. Okay, so yeah, that's that, guys. A basic overview on what the course is, what the course duration is, and what topics we'll be discussing. Any questions on or doubts on your end? Ayappa, Shoaib, Rambabu, Sachet. Yeah, Sachet, please let me know what your question is.
Will the class be at 9 p.m. each day on the weekdays?
Yes, at 9 p.m. Indian Standard Time, IST.
Okay, will the classes be recorded if we can't make it for, let's say, one day, or will they not be recorded?
No, each and every single class will be recorded, and you'll be getting the recordings of the class on the same day. Just in case if you miss out, you can go through the recordings as well. And if you have any questions, if you still don't,
email?
Sorry?
Will they be available on the email?
Yeah, it'll be available on your email itself.
Okay.
Okay. Each and every class will be recorded, and the recording will be shared to you via the email. And just in case if you don't understand that class, even after going through the recording, we can take a few backup sessions on the weekends as well. Okay, so if there's a lot of students who have missed out the class, we can take backups on the weekends just for better understanding. Okay. Any other questions, guys? Again, you'll be getting the live classes, the recorded sessions, the notepad files for each class. So if I show you, each and every class has a notepad file. Let me show you that, as you can see here. Okay, so you don't have to create our notes separately. I already have the notes generated for each and every file. You can go through these notes at the end of every class. Okay, along with that, you'll also be getting the PDF material from the official EC Council. Okay, so you get the notes, you get the material, you get the live recording class, live sessions, and the recording classes as well. Okay, all of this included. Is this clear, guys? Shoaib, can you hear me? I guess. Yeah, Ramba.
Yeah, I'm completely new to this course. Actually, I'm a web developer.
Okay.
Any prerequisites are required for this to learn this course? I know Unix basics.
Perfect. Again, as I've mentioned, we have a few prerequisites, but they are included in the course itself. You don't need to learn them from anywhere separately. So we need to learn about virtualization actually, how to create virtual machines. So we'll learn about a tool called VMware. We'll install this application VMware, in which we can have multiple operating systems as a lab setup. So we'll learn what virtualization is, we'll learn how to install this lab setup, and after that, basic networking concepts like IP addresses, IPv4, IPv6 addresses, whatnot. And then again, basic Linux and Windows commands. So these are the prerequisites.
I know a little bit about virtualization. I used Oracle VirtualBox to install Linux.
Yeah, you can use that as well. So I prefer VMware because it has a better interface. Okay. Again, I have the cracked version. You don't need to pay anything for that. I'll be sharing those files for free. You can access those and use those as well. Okay. Or if you're comfortable with VirtualBox, you can use VirtualBox as well. Anything of your choice.
So, once we complete this course, are we able to attend this certified exam?
Definitely. Again, if you're planning on writing the certification as well, Rambabu, again, I provide proxy support as well. So again, you will write the exam yourself. Okay, you will be able to write and crack the exam as well. I'll be sharing a few terms. I'll be sharing the material from EC Council. You can just go through it as well for some extra knowledge. Okay, and it's easy to crack it. But just in case, again, it's a costly certification. It's around $500 or so. So just in case, so that you don't lose any money, I'll be there to assist you. Okay, you will write the exam yourself. In the end, I'll come and check your answers and correct if there's anything wrong. Okay, so it's around $500 and there's no refund. You need to get 75% of them right. If you don't get 75% of the answers right, you might fail the exam. Okay, so again, since it's costly, it's always better to have a proxy as a backup.
Okay, and what are the opportunities available in the market after learning this course?
Yeah, good question. Again, once you're done with the course, this is one website that I usually suggest if you are from India itself. There's a website called jobs.null.co.in. So this is a website specifically for cybersecurity jobs itself. These are all the domains in cybersecurity. So if you're a complete fresher, you can click on fresher/internship. And as you can see, so you can go with SOC analyst job roles. So again, these keep getting updated from time to time. Last month I checked there were like 8 or 7 requirements. Right now there's only 3. Okay, you can either go with this one, or you can also search for VAPT. Where is that? Oh, here, vulnerability assessment and penetration testing. So you can apply for security consultant or security analyst or cyber security consultant. These are the job roles you can apply for. Okay, so again, there's a lot of opportunities. Again, this is one of the websites. You have other websites as well, the normal job searching websites, but this is specifically only for cyber security jobs in India. Okay, and these are all the domains available.
I have 10 years of experience in the IT. So will it be useful to shift my career into cybersecurity?
Rambabu, again, starting from the scratch would be a bit tough because that would not land you proper amount of salary. But my recommendation after CH is done, I would recommend you to do a few advanced courses as well, such as web application pen
For
testing.
curiosity, I wanted to learn, and I like your way of teaching.
Right. So again, after CH is done, I usually become an advanced course as well from my own end. So there's a course called web application pen testing. So after this is done, I usually teach web application pen testing as well for bug bounty. So with that advanced course, it opens up a few more opportunities for you. But again, I still doubt, Rambabu, since you've mentioned 10 years of experience and you're starting it as a fresher, you might not in the initial days get the exact amount of salary that you're expecting because you're just starting.
I don't want to try. If there is any better opportunity, then I will try.
Yeah, but again, as I mentioned,
curiosity, I wanted to learn this.
Right. Again, if you learn web application pen testing after CH is done, you can start performing bug bounty as well. Bug bounty is where a few online websites host a few other clients, and if you find the vulnerabilities on their websites, they directly pay you money for that. Okay, so you're earning bug bounty with that as well. Again, if you learn web application pen testing and do some research on it with practice, that's a much easier stream as well for income. Usually, most of the people when they learn hacking or ethical hacking, they dive towards web application pen testing to perform bug bounty on the side and earn a few bucks over there. So one of the websites for that is BugCrowd. So this is a bug bounty platform, as you can see. Search for BugCrowd, click on the first link, and you can see over here. If I just click on programs, these are all the clients that are listing their website in BugCrowd. As you can see, Parable, Telstra, and then HostGator.
It will be useful because I'm a web developer.
Right. This is a suitable domain for you actually. So once you find the vulnerabilities in any certain organization's domain, and if you report it back, depending on the vulnerability, they're going to pay you. So again, there are different impact levels. Okay, vulnerability levels. Highest vulnerability level, they're paying up to $20,000. Not an easy thing, but again, it's a good choice for you since you already belong to the web application side. Okay.
Thank you.
So yeah, this is one more stream, Rambabu. But again, my recommendation, you can't do this course directly. So for you to understand the vulnerabilities and all, you would have to go with CH first and then jump to the advanced courses, a step-by-step procedure. Okay. Right. So yeah, no worries. That's that, guys. Any other questions? Sachit, Ayappa, or Shudi? Shudi, you did contact me in the morning, I guess, if I'm not wrong. Is that you itself or was it someone else? Okay.
Yes,
I hope.
I contacted him today.
Yeah, exactly. In the morning, right?
Sure. Yes. So on the night you are going to do it properly, then I'll make payment. I don't want to miss anything.
Yeah, sure, Shudi. Again, if you have any other further queries or so, just let me know. Drop a message on WhatsApp or so. Okay, and we'll get back in touch. Sure.
That's good.
Okay.
Thank you.
So yeah, that's that, guys. Nothing further. Again, the batch is gonna start from Monday, guys, Jan 9th. So tomorrow as well, we'll just be having a few more demos. Okay, tomorrow and day after tomorrow, and from Monday onwards at 9 p.m. we'll be having the first class. You can join at 9 p.m. Monday. Okay, you can join that class where we learn about basic networking concepts. Okay. Do you question if you ask why are you coming from a different background? What should you say? Again, it's just your interest, Sachin. So cybersecurity is a booming field. Okay. And you would always tell that when you pick your domain, it should always be on your interest. It shouldn't be from an aspect of finance. Okay, then they won't pay much heed to you. It should always be an interest. You telling them that you're interested in cybersecurity. But again, you had your course or your stream was different, so you had to join a different domain, and slowly you started learning in this domain, and then you shifted to this right now. Okay, and this has been in the boom in the last few years since the pandemic hit. Then cybersecurity has been in a lot of boom, and you found that as the right opportunity to learn about it. So that's what most of the students I suggest do given as an answer. Okay, so yeah, that's that. Any other questions? Okay, guys, assuming there are no questions any further, I'm going to exit the session now, and I'll see you again on Monday. Okay, have a good day. Take care. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye. Bye, Sachin. Bye, Rambabu. Bye, Shodi. Bye, Ayappa. I'll see you soon.